not only do I think I can do this, but I want to do this.
And I really remember thinking to myself, I'm like, that's something that I can do.
Sometimes I think it just was something inside me that called me to it.
Police are often criticized for their methods of how they handle different situations, especially those that involve the use of deadly force. The majority of these critics are ill-informed or don't have the right understanding to make an informed opinion. They jump to conclusions before hearing the police officer's story, and many times don't even want to hear it. Police officers tend to be criticized whether they do or don't do something.
At one point he stopped and he turned and faced me, and it was one of those little thoughts, those temporal distortion, that my gun was out before I knew it. And I was telling him, get on the ground, show me your hands, all this stuff. And he looked at me for a split second and dumped a backpack over. And then when all was said and done, I ended up being one of the guys that escorted him to the hospital because he was high on meth. He was, adrenaline. He was in danger of dying because he was going crazy inside. And he didn't recognize me. I mean, why should he? It's dark. And he said something that was very interesting. Like, hey, what were you doing? And he, tells you he was just free with everything he was doing, everything he was thinking. And they said, you stopped. What were you going to do there? And he said, I was going to shoot that guy. Why didn't you? He said he had his gun on me too fast. That's the only reason he didn't. And when they looked in the bag, it was a brand new Smith 9mm. That if he could have gotten it out, we would have been literally from here to my staircase like 16, 17 feet open. And I thought about that. I thought if I shoot him, he's going to get me. But I got to get him more because I don't have any cover. I don't have anywhere to go. It's just him and me literally in a V-shaped funnel. I can't run up, can't do anything. And that was kind of eye-opening when he told me, not knowing it was the me that caught him, that, hey, I was going to shoot you, but your gun was out too fast. Save that one thing, I was going to fill you as full of lead as I could. So that was interesting, learning that.
The majority of the United States has never had a gun pointed at them with malicious intent, and they especially don't have to go to work every day with fear of having a gun pointed at them. Police officers have to go to work every day knowing that they might not make it home, and too often people take that for granted. No one takes the time to step into the shoes of police officers and try to understand how they process dangerous situations.
Probably for the first few hours, I was definitely in shock and kind of disbelief. I remember within that first hour, kind of sitting in a car and watching everyone else work. I remember my mouth was getting very dry. My mind kept on playing this whole incident back. That went on for the next 3 days, where you just start to play it back. You start to doubt yourself a little bit on certain aspects. There was one aspect of this which I recognized flashes. So I remember being in that doorway and I remember seeing flashes. And I remember almost coming out of body for a split second and looking down at myself and thinking to myself, I'm like, why am I not hit right now? This guy is shooting a gun at me. How come I'm not hit? How come I'm not dead? And I struggled with that.
Lately, the media has been filled with anti-police protests and propaganda. Groups have waged war on the police, and it seems like very few care to stop it. People don't stop and wonder how their lives would be if their careers were criminalized in the media. Would it make your job harder? Would it change how your family and friends view your job?
I know that these men and women are doing difficult things, that it's going to be questioned. I know that. But what I fear for them is the negative immediate judgment for something that they did that was, yes, done with swift actions, swift certainty, and sometimes with needed violence, force, use of force. It's violence. If you look at the definition, they had to use it because an officer has to respond to all of the incoming violence. And my fear is somebody looks at that one-dimensionally on a TV screen, on a little tiny TV screen, and makes a ginormous judgment on it, and then they broadcast something negative of that. That's what I think is fracturing our appreciation of police officers, is that people make judgments and they just have a loud microphone, and the loud ones get amplified because of technology.
Very few jobs require split-second reaction time, and people don't always understand how fast police officers must react. Law enforcement officers have only seconds to make the right call in dangerous situations. Those split-second decisions can affect whether or not their family gets to see them again. Very few jobs require that level of decision-making.
Action versus reaction. The best way to do it is it's kind of crude, but it's kind of a game. So it'll be like there's a suicidal person, and I have my finger gun and I have it to my head. Now a lot of people say, that there's no way that a police officer should be able to shoot me because I have the gun to my head. I guess some of the issue comes down to is action versus reaction. If there's no cover and it's just you and it's that suicidal person that is in front of you.
All right. So we're simulate. Corey's talking to me. He's trying to talk me. Put my gun down. Put the gun down. So again, I was able to get the shot out. Okay? And so all we're trying to show here is the officers are always behind the 8 ball because of action versus reaction.
I think that the public, there's a good portion, unfortunately, that doesn't really, if they were in our shoes for just a little bit more, and that's where Ride Along comes in handy, I think they'd have a better understanding of it's never going to be perfect out there when you're making a split-second decision. You make your best decision, and is it reasonable? And that's really the question. And now with all the mental health issues going on, and all these new type of drugs that are synthetic that are causing more mental health issues, the bath salts and such. We're going to just more and more calls where it just doesn't, there's not any part of it that's rational, and we're trying to make, later we get armchaired, and hindsight's 20/20, and so just a really tough place to be. I think the country needs to come together and as a whole understand that we can't do it without the public, but we also need the public's trust, and so that's not going to happen overnight. We need to earn that trust back.